Hey, what's going on, Nole Nation? It's CJ Wilson here with DoakTalk. Of course, I am your host. I guess you guys know why I have this big smile on my face and why I'm so excited. FSU has the upset win over top 10 Alabama, winning 31-17 against the Crimson Tide. Excuse me, my voice is a little shaky in this video. I apologize, guys. It's still recovering from the electric game that we had yesterday afternoon in Doak Campbell Stadium. Before we get started, make sure you guys hit. I've been telling y'all to like and subscribe to the channel, right? We're gonna have a lot of FSU content, that you guys want to hear, especially after games like this, right? Hit that like button. It takes 2 seconds of your time. Subscribe to the Doak Talk community. Subscribe. We have everything covered. All knows FSU fans. This is what you want from a platform in regards to the type of info, the type of content that you will be receiving on a weekly basis. So go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the Doak Talk community. Our FSU wins 31-17 against Alabama Crimson Tide. And on paper, like I was telling you guys, Alabama is probably the most talented team we will see, especially when you go by the 247 on 3-star ranking and all that type of deal, the blue chip ratio type of stuff. But that didn't matter. FSU handled business, pretty much out physicaled Alabama. It's really crazy to say, right? Like, this FSU team beat up the Alabama Crimson Tide, literally beat them up. It was a alley fight, and we came out on top, man. Bar fight, whatever you want to say, and FSU did their thing and bruised and bloodied the Alabama Crimson Tide up. I'm not going to get into everything. Just want to touch on a few key things within this video, just to get this out to you guys this morning. We are going to go live tomorrow on Labor Day, Monday, just to of course, get a full breakdown of the game and answer questions. And again, get you guys, the fans, on for the call-in portion, because I damn sure to hear what you guys have to say about the game and about the Alabama Crimson Tide. First, I want to start this video off with what I've been telling you guys all season in regards to, I guess, the difference from last year this year is, and how important these two have been. The two coordinator hires in Gus Malzahn and Tony White was some of the best hires in the offseason, man. And I really believe that coming into the season, and it showed last night. It paid dividends, man. Both Gus and Tony were amazing. To hold Alabama to 17 points, simply amazing. Less than 100 yards rushing. I told you guys, man, Tony White doesn't play that bullshit when it comes to running, stopping the run. He is a stop the run first defensive coordinator. He prides himself in that. Terrence Potter's not in the same way as far as being a defensive lineman. They pride themselves in stopping the run. The same shit they did in Nebraska, it carried. We saw those same elements in game one against the Alabama Crimson Tide. And of course, Gus Malzahn, Gus was in his damn bag, man. The play calling was magnificent. The variation of the play calling was magnificent. So many misdirections. Gus had a post throughout. It seemed like everything was within the flow of the game. He really had a good feel for the game. The play calling was just magnificent, especially in certain situations. Really respected what both of those guys did as play callers. We all know, man, Gus Malzahn is the Alabama killer, right? He's the Alabama killer. He's the guy that you will want calling plays against Alabama. Gave Nick Saban fits in his years. I think he's the coach that beat Nick Saban the most during his time at Alabama while he was the head coach of the Auburn Tigers. So really good hires in Gus Malzahn and Tony White. Like I said, I've been telling you guys, man, I really believe those two coordinators could be the difference. And from last year to this year with FSU, from a mindset standpoint, play calling standpoint, everything involved. And I think it showed against the Alabama Crimson Tide. Kind of jumping to Tony White a little bit further, kind of deep dive into the defense, man. Gave him less than 100 yards rushing to Alabama. Less than 100 yards rushing. Alabama had 55 yards rushing in that opening first drive. They had 32 rushing yards the rest of the game. 32 rushing yards the rest of the game after that opening drive in which they accumulated 55. 87 total rushing yards for the Alabama Crimson Tide. And we heard all season about how big this offensive line was, how physical this offensive line was, and this, that, and the third. We bullied Alabama up front. That offensive line was not a factor. Proctor, the left tackle, he got abused. This is a guy that a lot of people have going into the top 10 within the draft. He was abused by our defensive line, linebackers. He was fooled. We saw the duck, we circled the duck, and we went after the duck. He wasn't like that. Daryl Jackson, 55 defensive snaps at the nose guard position. Alabama center, who was one of the best centers within the SEC. We took his lunch too. He had the second worst PFF grade for the within the Alabama offensive line. So shouts out to those guys. We really dominated that football game. And also, we just have physical enforcers. Earl Little is him. Earl Little Jr. is him. We've heard all offseason. I told you guys the way he finished the season last year was a bright spot, and it carried over spring practice, summer workouts, fall camp. You wonder why Tony White spoke up so highly of Earl Little and his impact. Mike Norvell speaking so highly of Earl Little and his impact. We saw it last night. He was a physical imposer. Physical imposer. That's with all the safeties, which I love within his defense. And it carried over to the receivers because Ryan Williams, he's not like that. He is not as good as you guys has happened to be. He was in a straitjacket for FSU. He was in hell. He heard footsteps. We was physical with those guys. And I want to say this one thing as well too. Don't you guys ever disrespect Jeremiah Smith and things like that and put Ryan Williams within this category? It's not. They're not on the same planet. It's a bunch of tiers between those two guys. Granted, Ryan Williams had a really good freshman year, and there was a lot of hype because he was 16, 17 years old, whatever it may be. But being a complete receiver and things like that, he's not like that. And granted, I told you guys, the strength of FSU's team is what? If you guys want to talk about recruitment rankings and all that type of deal, which is perfectly fine, which position group has FSU recruited elite at? The defensive back position, right? We are DBU, will always be DBU. You go back to LSU, they had those highly ranked receivers coming to the season. We had both of those guys in hell. Ryan Williams, we had him in hell. Say that's your best receiver, we go lock that shit up. Point blank, period. But again, though, Ashton Barker, Earl Little, Edwin Joseph, those guys were physical imposers from the safety position, which I really love, man. Like the physicality and with that 3-3-5 defense, with the defensive backs being on the field the most, you got to have physical imposers at those positions. And I think FSU has found that. Now, there's a lot of stuff we got to clean up on that we can get better on. We'll get to that in a second. Going back to Gus, we had 200 and shout to Hurapan, man. Shout out to Hurapan. Overall, I would say Tommy Castellanos was probably the MVP of Saturday, but collectively, that offensive line, man, was played very well, lights out. Hurapan, you did a hell of a job. And I told you guys as well, man, this offensive line is going to be completely different from last year this year because all of the people that we got within the transfer portal played high-level football and had multiple starts. Vanderbilt, Ole Miss, Wake Forest, multiple starts within the offensive line. And of course, we bring back Richie Leonard, who's finally healthy now and look good as well. UCF as well, too. Shout out to Medley, who was with Hurapan and Gus Malzahn at UCF. But again, that we had 230 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns, with four rushing touchdowns with 4 different players, 46 rushing attempts, elite play calling. Shout out to Makai Danzy too, made some game-changing plays for FSU, some momentum-changing plays for FSU. You saw the electric speed, and also the stuff that Mike Norvell has been saying. It wasn't just speed; he was making guys miss, breaking tackles. Makai Danzy is going to be a problem for FSU as well. But again, guys, overall, I really like what I saw out of FSU within this game. And there's a lot to clean up. We converted a lot of 3rd and longs and a few. I think it was like 1 4th and long, if I'm not mistaken. But it was a lot of things that we could clean up as far as getting off the field on 3rd down. Offensively, there was a lot of things we could clean up as well, too. And I do think there's a little bit of phantom holding calls on certain plays for FSU. And on the flip end, I don't think Alabama was called for holding enough because, like I said, we lived in the backfield all damn day. The offensive line had no answer for FSU. But again, it's a lot of things we got to clean up and we can get better at, and we will get better at. It was the first game. And I think FSU has a lot of potential from a talent standpoint. We won't see another team like this, maybe Clemson, but from an overall talent standpoint, we will not see another team like the Alabama Crimson Tide. And I've been telling you guys, and I think Ty Simpson played pretty well, to be honest with you, but I've been telling you guys that we were catching Alabama at the at the perfect time in regards to playing in the first game of the season. But I do think Ty Simpson did play pretty good ball. I want to give a shout out to Doak Campbell Stadium before we wrap this video up. Shout out to the fans, man. Shout out to the fans. You guys came now I told you what was going to happen with this. A newly renovated Doak Campbell Stadium. You come in, the energy is there. Go through the concourse and see how nice this thing is. Sold out, and then FSU helps the crowd out with making some plays. That crowd was a 12 man. It was loud. Alabama running back with CBS Sports, I want to say is Damian Williams, if I'm not mistaken. And if I got it wrong, my apologies. But I think Damian Williams, he's with Danny Cannell and B-Mac, Brian McFadden on CBS Sports, and he pretty much said it was loud as hell in Doak Campbell Stadium. That stadium reminded him it was pretty much rivaled, and he played Alabama. He said it rivaled Death Valley, Alabama versus LSU in Death Valley. That's some lofty some high praise for someone that played at Alabama, played in the SEC, and played in these big time stadiums and things, and said FSU Doak Campbell Stadium, it wasn't no difference than Death Valley at night in Baton Rouge. Very impressive. The fans, you guys came out and did your thing. I really loved it. The energy was high. Shout out to Shout out to AD Mike Alford with the vision in regards to it. I know the stadium was just beautiful, and all the former Noles that came and hung out, man. Shout out to you guys. This was a great win for the program overall. Had over 100 recruits, a lot of blue chip recruits, a lot of blue chip recruits. They have a lot of great things to say about it. We'll get more content out as the week progresses in regards to updates and things like that. Again, like and subscribe. All your content will be going through DoakTalk. And forgive my voice again. As you can tell, I'm excited for the top 10 win and see what FSU could do for the rest of the season. Go Noles.